Ironically, I get asked a lot, what's it like being a female in a male's world?
Yeah.
I never once have thought that until I was asked that question.
Yeah, you're an award winner, top retailer award, young retailer award, top women, all these different things. How are you seeing technology change our business?
I don't think you're going to have a choice. I think you're just going to have to, because you're either going to adapt to the change or you're going to get left behind. And they said, so AI is teaching you how to use AI?
Yes.
Absolutely it is.
Then the things that only humans can do, like the face-to-face conversations like this, you could maybe do more of that.
Welcome to the Grit Blueprint Podcast, the playbook for building unmistakable brands that grow, lead, and last in the built world. I'm Stephanie Couch, the founder of Grit Blueprint, and I'm a lifelong building industry insider. I was raised here, built my career here, and now my team and I help others win here. The truth is, you can be the best option in your space and still lose to someone else who simply shows up better and more consistently. Each week on the Grit Blueprint, I'm going to show you how to stand out, earn trust, and turn your brand into a competitive advantage that lasts. If you're ready to be seen, known, chosen, and become unmistakable, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
I am coming to you live from Orlando, Florida, and I'm excited to have a very special guest today here. Thank you for joining me on the podcast, Megan. Megan Menzer is actually a fourth-generation hardware store owner. Tell me a little bit about where your store is and exactly what you're doing there.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'm fourth generation. My great-grandparents started our business in 1924. So we are in southeast Kansas, a little town called Cherryvale, and about 2,400 people.
That's amazing. I love the name Cherryvale. It sounds very Americana, and I'm sure it is just as picturesque in person.
It is. Yeah.
And your family started this, and what was it kind of like it is today when they started it? Because I know a lot of people had grocery stores and all these different things. Was it what it is now?
So we actually started out as a contracting company. And so my great-grandparents started out the contracting business. And ironically, I get asked a lot, what's it like being a female in a male's world?
Yeah.
I never once have thought that until I was asked that question.
Yeah.
Because my great-grandfather would go out on the contracting jobs, and my great-grandma actually ran the store. So she was the one that was inside the business, and she was the one that handled sales and met with all the clients. And so growing up in that, I always just saw the females in the store, and so I never looked at it as a gender business. So
it's interesting that you say that, because I think I had a similar perception, but I didn't necessarily have a female in my dad's lumberyard, but he always just made me feel like I was just a part of it. So it wasn't weird. And when I got to corporate, it's the same thing. It was like I was 25 and all of a sudden I started looking around. I was like, oh, I'm weird.
Right. Yes. And I can remember, graduating from college and going to the True Value shows, and it was really neat because at that time, a lot of the men, their daughters didn't choose to go into the business.
Yeah.
And so they just embraced me. I mean, they were so excited to see me, and they mentored me. I still, to this day, I get cards in the mail, or I'll get an email from somebody or a phone call. And it's actually been such an extended family for me. It's been really amazing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think that's something that most people maybe wouldn't think about. And I've had the same experience in my career. I would say, I've had some amazing women that have helped me.
Right.
But there have been way more men, because there just are more men out there.
Right.
But they have really made me who I am, helped me become who I am, and also really looked out for me, especially since I've started my own business. Like, I've had some people that have really paved the way for me to get business, to help me get feedback, all those things, to get spotlight on certain things I'm doing. How does that work with you? Because I know you are doing so much mentoring and you're helping the industry with programs. First of all, let's just go back. You're an award winner. You have done so many amazing things in your actual space. Top retailer award, young retailer award, top women, all these different things. How are you seeing mentorship? And you've come up that way. Other people are now getting it from you. You've created some programs. So tell me about what you think the next step in getting the next generation is in this industry.
So definitely, I believe because I was mentored so much and had so many different people. And again, lots of fantastic guys, and Linda Johnson, I'm going to throw her name out there because she was an amazing woman that helped bring me up through this. But it's my turn now to give back. And so like in our own business, we've started a mentorship program, and it's just giving back, to being able to give back. And I love that. I love that about our industry. I love that about our business. We're in a prime opportunity. There's just so much of, there's so many people that just don't have any basic life skills. And so just giving them the space and having the employees. So I have fantastic employees who are willing to step in as well, because it takes the whole team. So, you know, we'll bring kids in and just teach them how to have a conversation with a person. That's a real thing now.
It's not just showing them how to sell hardware or how to sell building products. It's literally, here's how you don't text someone and you talk to them with a real conversation face to face.
Yes.
Which is scary and exciting at the same time.
Right.
How do you handle that when people come in? Are you seeing these young kids embrace that because you're showing them it's okay that you don't know, we're going to teach you?
Yes, because I think we're very upfront, and we say, we know that this is different. We know this is difficult. We know that this is going to be hard.
Sure.
But they're willing to learn, and they want to learn, and they want to know. And one of my favorite things is I took one of the girls over to the post office to buy a stamp. It was like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, she had no idea you could buy a stamp and put it on an envelope and send it anywhere in the United States for 75 cents or 70 cents, whatever it is now.
Stamps.
Yes. And she just was like, it was like a whole new world to her. And so just to even see their faces, or to see them blossom and to see them grow. And it's been neat having people reach back out to me years later and say, you know, thank you. You've changed my life, or you've helped me do this, or I didn't think I'd ever be able to do something. And that in itself is just the reward of being in the position that we're in.
Yeah, I think that's one of the coolest parts that I didn't quite expect when I started my business, because we're 3 years in now, my husband and I knew I wanted to have a team, but I had a different experience running a team at corporate. It was just very different, because there's only so much with a really, really big company. You can only move so much. You know, you can only do so much. And when you have a small team that's agile and you can mentor people, you can form a culture around something that you want it to be a certain way. It's so exciting to watch those people be able to do things. And then my favorite part is when they start to do things that I don't want to be involved in.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it just frees you up to do other things.
They're better at it than
they are. Right.
And that's the thing, is like, oh, you are way better at this website building, or this thing that, you know, with AI, I know what I think it should be and the problem that needs to solve, but I don't want to be the one in there doing the coding.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Really fun. And also with the younger generation, there's a lot of things we can learn from them.
We can.
Yeah.
Yes, my manager, she is fantastic. And I will tell her, this is something that I want to see us accomplish. And then before I know it, she's brought it to me and said, okay, what do you think? And I'm just like, oh, wow. Yeah. I love this. I mean, she's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How are you seeing technology change our business? We talked a little bit right before this started about AI. We're here at a show, and you actually went to a session this morning. I spoke yesterday about AI. It's changing every week. How do you see it, number one, changing our business? And then do you think people are going to embrace it in our industry in a very traditional place where people are 100-year-old businesses and they have historically been relatively slow to adopt technology? How do you see that coming into our industry?
I don't think you're going to have a choice. I think you're just going to have to. It's going to be one of those things that I think I grew up very fortunate, because we became computerized in 1991, which is that's pretty early. Yes, it's very early. And so we've always adapted, but I don't think you're going to have a choice, because you're either going to adapt to the change or you're going to get left behind. Yeah. And with AI, it's just exponentially faster and faster and faster. You know, it started out, a good analogy in session this morning was, 6 months ago, you're going 30 miles an hour, and today you're up to 60 miles an hour. Yeah. And I think in 2 months, you're going to be up to 100 miles an hour. It's not even at the rate of doubling. And so it is going to completely change our industry. Yeah. Look at fast food. You don't even you don't have anybody take your order today.
No.
And I think that in the hardware industry, if it's doing inventory with a robot or payroll, I mean, just there's so many faucets that's going to be changed, and it's going to touch everything that we do.
Yeah. And I do think that's a really good point about the rapid change, because people compare it to the internet or in industrial. I talk about in my speech, I usually open it with the tractor. The day the farmer didn't have to use a horse and he could use a tractor. But the difference there is that with the tractor or the internet, there was a ramp up period.
Right.
Because people couldn't afford a tractor. They didn't know where to get a tractor. There was still a lot of things that were in between you and a tractor. Even with the internet, it took years to get a computer for people. They were expensive. You had to, the internet was slow. And today, if you log on to openai.com, you can get a free account in 4 seconds or whatever it takes you to hit submit with your email, and you're on AI.
Right.
And it's the same for that person as it would be for someone who's been on it for a year. The technology is there. The other thing is that AI can teach you how to use AI.
Yes. Which sounds crazy, but I started taking classes 4 weeks ago, and that's what somebody asked me today. They said, well, are you taking in person or online? And I said, no, I'm taking online classes. And they said, so AI is teaching you how to use AI?
Yes.
Absolutely, it is.
It is. And that's the thing with the internet. If you wanted to do something, code something, build something, you had to find a person who probably was expensive, and then you had to know if you could trust them to tell you how to do it. If you ask ChatGPT how to do something in ChatGPT, it will tell you.
Yes.
It's not 100% always right. I won't say that. Spoiler alert, there's still a little bit of hallucinations and things like that. But mostly you can figure it out.
Right.
So I think that's the thing for people listening that maybe are like, I don't know if I believe in this, or I'm scared of it. That's all could be true.
Right.
It doesn't negate the fact that it's here and it's exponentially getting quicker every week. There are things that are coming out now that, it's unbelievable. 2-3 years ago when I started using it, let's write an email. It was pretty good. Let's do this little thing. It's pretty good. Now it is manually clicking 12-stage task by itself without you touching anything.
Right.
So what will it be in 6 more months?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I also think, of course, there's downsides to all of it. How authentic are you really?
Yeah.
Because are you sending that email, or is AI sending that email? So am I really getting a chance to talk to you and understand you, or is it just AI? And so I think that, there's a lot of aspects of it that are, and I also wonder about, we haven't really brought it in, we haven't brought the robot into our store yet, but once you start bringing that in, how are your employees going to react to that?
Yeah.
Are they going to be like, oh, I'm going to go look for a new job because I'm getting replaced, or I better step it up, and what else can I take care of?
Yeah, and that's where I'm curious your thoughts on this, because I think about this a lot, and I try to frame it this way for people who are using AI. There are so many tasks I think about in my business today. I think about in, my dad's business that we couldn't get to. We knew we needed to.
Yeah,
it's like
that list
10 through 50 that you just you never get down to.
Right.
If we could take AI and have them do that stuff,
yes,
then the things that only humans can do, like the face-to-face conversations like this, the in-store moments at the aisle with a customer, the, person events that you come in and have someone decorating a pumpkin, or going to a local football game and talking to people, you could maybe do more of that.
Yes.
So I do think if you can look at the list of things that you could optimize that you're not getting to, that's where I would start. And then look at where you can get more time back for the things that customers really care about that are human-based.
Yes.
Because we are going to value those moments more, because nothing is going to be real anymore. So I think if we can look at it, that's also why I love branding so much, because building a brand is really about people to me. It's about who you really are as a person underneath the layers of a logo. And if we can build a brand that is around people and experiences, that's still superhuman.
Right.
It's not AI.
Right.
And that may give us more time to do it.
Yeah. I have to agree. And I think that people are starting to crave that personal touch.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to get worse, because as the AI gets more human, it will be harder to tell.
Yes.
But I do think there's no way to replace that moment in a store with a person standing at the aisle with you answering those questions, even if they're using AI to get some of the answers because they're a 20-year-old kid who doesn't know the answer.
Right.
But they will be able to have that moment. So I also think in-person events are going to get more important.
Yes.
Because we are going to want to have that craving for human connection.
Right.
Much like after the pandemic.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah. What do you love about events like this? I know we're both going to be at the Do It Best Market in September. We're here in Orlando now. What do you love about these events? What's your favorite part?
My favorite part is networking.
Yeah.
So I was on the NRHA board and I ran into a past board member and we spent 45 minutes, got a hot tea, he got a coffee and we just sat and talked business. But it was really interesting where he is and where he is with his business, where I am, where we are with our business, and just to kind of catch up and network and, what are your thoughts about this or how are you handling this situation? And it's definitely the networking, just seeing people that you know and knowing that you're not in it alone. Because I think a lot of days when you're in the trenches and it's just, it's harder and harder with, online sales, Amazon, it's difficult out there. And so you feel like you're at it alone. And so you come to places like this and you're reminded that it's not you.
Yeah.
You are doing the right things. And just to kind of get some better ideas maybe of, hey, have you tried this? Or, so yeah, definitely the networking. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. I have a mentor that I like, and he talks about stealing the 10,000 hours of time and failures from other people. How do we pull up time and you don't have to do all those experiments? And I think as a local store owner, for sure, it does. I can only imagine it feels lonely. You're up against big giants.
Right.
But things like Do It Best or True Value or even the IHI, they show you that other people have already probably screwed up what you're trying to figure out.
Right.
And I don't know what you guys talked about over breakfast, but I'm sure there was something that was enlightening for one or the other. And it's testing in real life, but without you having to do it.
Right,
so
exactly.
It's fun to hear those points. And also the ideation of what could we be doing different that maybe with AI or with a product line or whatever. I think it's cool how people are open to sharing. So at the end of the day, they don't guard all this insider information because you're probably not competing against them.
Right, exactly. And we're not both True Value.
Yeah.
And so we don't care though, because like you said, at the end of the day, we're independent hardware stores. That's what we're all under the same independent roof.
Yeah.
And so, how can we make this better?
Right.
Yeah. How do we not reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, for sure. Tell me a little bit about your experience, because you have been a True Value store. It's pretty openly known that True Value's had a few very rough years, and I can only imagine what it was like being in that environment. But you now have been acquired by Do It Best, and the last year, I'm sure there's been quite a transition. Tell me a little bit about your experience so far being in Do It Best group as a True Value store and what that's been like.
Yeah. So it's been very welcoming. It's been a fantastic transition. Yes, been True Value for a very long time. So I have seen a lot of different CEOs come and go and a lot of downfalls and upswings. And so during the transition and the buyout it was very intense. So I actually represented the hardware industry. I didn't represent True Value or a board member. I represented the hardware industry and flew to Delaware and testified in court. And so that was very intense. I know more about business bankruptcy and business law than I probably ever want to know. But during all of that, it was really rough. But as soon as it was over and the deal was finalized, I will say Do It Best reached out to me and has been nothing but a fantastic relationship with them since. Their heart is definitely in it for their members. It's all about the members. It's not a corporate out for me type of deal. And they have really stepped in, and any issues, they want to know what's happening. They want to know what needs to be fixed. So they don't just want to hear the good stuff. Periodically, I'll get a text message or an email and, not just with myself, but hey, what have you heard in the industry? What are our weaknesses? What do we need to be fixing? What are we doing wrong? And it's very refreshing because, you don't always get that. And so when they're willing to say, we know we can do better, and where is it that we need to do better? They're wanting to grow.
Yeah.
They're not wanting to stay where they're at. And
well, I think there's a spirit of long-term planning with, you're a 100-year-old store.
yes,
You're not worried about tomorrow. You're worried about a decade from now and probably the next generation and how that works for it long term. And I think they also have that same mentality.
Yes.
And I love that spirit within the home improvement industry independently, is that they are thinking about what it's going to do for the business long term, for the members long term. And I think that's how you have to run your business, because if you're just thinking about tomorrow, it's really easy to make decisions that are a quick upswing, but really end up hurting people and the business.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see you at market, and I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me, being with another amazing woman and that grew up in the hardware industry, and hearing your stories. And I hope that we can spend some time together in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I look so much to it.
Joining me.
Thanks so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening to the Grit Blueprint podcast. If this episode helped you think a little differently about how to show up, share it with someone in your building world who needs it. If you're ready to turn visibility into growth, then head to gritblueprint.com to learn more and book a call to talk to us about your growth strategy. Until next time, stay unmistakable.